Coming up, State of Business, sponsored by...
Meet your work and learn targets. Log on to my SLT app to activate.
IWS Aviation.
A very good evening and a warm welcome to State of Business on Art Television. I'm Ashainani and let's have a look at the headlines first. Food inflation reaches 85% in August. Supreme Court deems Petroleum Products Amendment Bill as inconsistent with the Constitution. News in detail. The Supreme Court has informed Speaker Mahinda Abeyewardene that Petroleum Products Special Provisions Amendment Bill is inconsistent as a whole with Article 12 of the Constitution. Speaker Abeyewardene told Parliament this morning that the inconsistencies will cease if amendments are made as recommended by the Supreme Court.
I wish to announce to Parliament that I have received the determination of the Supreme Court in respect of the bill entitled Petroleum Products Special Provisions Amendment, which was challenged in Supreme Court in terms of Article 121(1) of the Constitution. On an overall consideration of the provisions of the bill, the Supreme Court has made the following determination. A. Clause 3.2 of the bill is inconsistent with the Article 12(1) of the Constitution and may only be passed by special majority required under the provisions of paragraph 2 of Article 84. The inconsistency will cease if the composition of the committee is changed to include the following: Secretary to the Ministry in charge of the subject of economic policy development, Secretary to the Minister in charge of the subject of investment promotion. B. Clause 7 of the bill will inconsistent with Articles 3 and 4 of the Constitution and may be passed only by the special majority required under the provisions of paragraph 2 of the Article 84 and approved by the people at a referendum by virtue of the provisions of Article 83 of the Constitution.
Further, Speaker Abeyewardene also informed Parliament that the staff-level agreement with the International Monetary Fund on debt restructuring has not yet been presented before the Cabinet of Ministers. Speaker Abeyewardene said that according to the President, the Cabinet will be briefed soon and the Speaker position and others will be called in for a briefing on the IMF agreement once discussions with Sri Lanka's creditors are held.
His Excellency the President informed me that even the Cabinet has not been briefed about these discussions. Though they say that it has been agreed with officials, but it has to be approved by the board of the IMF. So before that, he has to have some discussions with the other creditor countries, and then their report also has to be added into that. Until that such time, it will not be decided by anybody. So before that, there will be a cabinet briefing. Even the cabinet has not been informed yet. The cabinet will be briefed very soon once he received all the details. And for that briefing, opposition also will be invited, and even the speaker will be invited, and any other interested parties also can be participated. That is what he told me in the morning to inform you. This has not been finalized. This has not been approved by the board. So therefore, some more things to be added, some more things to be revised. So therefore, wait till the cabinet briefing is done, because the cabinet has not been yet informed to anybody.
The National Consumer Price Index for all items in the month of August 2022, as compiled by the Department of Census and Statistics, is at 250.4. This increase of 6 index points from 244.4 in July 2022 represents an increase in expenditure value of 1,922.68 rupees in the market basket. The NCPI has weights based on consumer spending in the 2012 and 2013 household income and expenditure survey and reflects new methods consistent with international best practices. Increases in the index value of food and non-food items by 0.91% and 1.53% respectively contributed to the month-on-month change. For food items, increases in index values were reported for most, however decreases were reported for Mysore dal, rice, sugar, big onions, potatoes, limes, dried chilies, green chilies and red onions. For non-food groups, increases in index values were reported for most, however decreases were reported for transport, while the price index for education remained unchanged. The overall rate of inflation as measured by NCPI on a year-on-year basis is 70.2% in August 2022, and inflation calculated for July 2022 was 66.7%. With respect to August 2021, the reported inflation for the month of August 2022 was mainly due to the higher price levels in both food and non-food groups. Accordingly, the year-on-year inflation of the food group increased to 84.6% in August 2022 from 82.5% in July 2022, and the year-on-year inflation of the non-food group increased to 57.1% in August 2022 from 52.4% in July 2022. On a year-on-year basis, contribution of food commodities to inflation was 40.41% in August 2022 compared to the month of August 2021. Contribution of non-food items was 27.79%. This was mainly due to price increases in all group of items. The moving average inflation for the month of August 2022 is 31.3%. The corresponding rate for the month of July 2022 was 25.9%. Stay tuned for more news right after this commercial break.
Take it everywhere with SLT Go. Data Bowl 1, Data Bowl 1.
A non-stop journey with Data Bowl 1 from SLT Mobitel Home Broadband.
Welcome back after the break. Joint Secretary to the Ceylon Electricity Board, Technological Engineers and Superintendents Union yesterday announced that members of the union will go on strike. The strike is aimed at highlighting what the union claims are management malpractices of the Ceylon Electricity Board.
I am Nalin Liyanapattamadi, Joint Secretary to the Ceylon Electricity Board, Technological Engineers and Superintendent Union. Our union comprising of more than 1,700 members, consisting of electrical superintendents, civil superintendents, mechanical superintendents. The management of the CEB has taken unnecessary and unwanted malpractices regarding the curtailments of the employees of the CEB, and which resulted to the jeopardize the power system in Sri Lanka. Due to the prevailing situation of the country, the consumers of electricity has been facing so many grievances owing to the unnecessary malpractices created by the CEB management. We have informed to the ministry and the board chairman and the general manager of the CEB with, regarding these malpractices and unwanted unnecessary curtailments to the power system of Sri Lanka, but still the management has not been taken necessary steps to overcome those problems and malpractices. So owing to that, we are compelled to go on for a trade union action, which will be started from this Friday midnight. It will create some unwanted and unnecessary breakdowns to the national system, and it will take further delays to the restoring the national power system.
The first consignment from an Australian donation totaling $15 million has arrived in Sri Lanka. It will soon be distributed to those most affected by the ongoing economic crisis. The consignment, consisting of 600 metric tons of rice, forms part of a larger consignment of rice, pulses and cooking oil due to arrival in the country soon. Australia's High Commissioner in Sri Lanka, Paul Stevens, maintains that Australia and Sri Lanka share many decades of friendship, and this latest contribution is an extension of our goodwill during the unprecedented crisis. According to the High Commissioner, the Australian government is aiming to support the World Food Programme to provide life-saving food to people struggling with price increases, job loss and reduced income. WFP Sri Lanka representative and country director Abu Rahim Siddique highlights that Australia was the first to contribute to WFP's emergency response, enabling it to kick off much-needed assistance to those hit by the ongoing crisis. He adds that Australia's generous donation has enabled the organisation to provide cash and in-kind food to the most vulnerable, including pregnant and breastfeeding women and schooling children. Recent WFP surveys shows that the level of food insecurity could deteriorate further in the coming months without urgent assistance. WFP's emergency response aims to reach 3.4 million of those most at risk. Meanwhile, Liberal Democratic Party senior Japanese parliamentarian Matsushita Shinpei met Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena recently to discuss cooperation between the two countries in areas of possible future cooperation. Matsushita Shinpei related that the main purpose of his visit is to see for himself how Sri Lanka is coping with the economic crisis and to find out how Japan could assist. Shinpei said he would encourage more Japanese investors to invest in Sri Lanka, and at present about 80 enterprises with Japanese investment are in operation under the purview of the BOI. These investments cover semiconductors, printed circuit boards, safety sensors, ceramic items, cement, apparel, shipbuilding and repair, tourism, infrastructure and logistics. Sri Lanka's foremost private healthcare provider, Nawaloka Hospitals, recently celebrated its 37-year legacy at the pinnacle of the Sri Lankan healthcare sector. It did so with a rejuvenated, highly advanced portfolio of healthcare services to benefit both local and international patients. The celebrations commenced with the unveiling of Nawaloka Hospital's premium primary care unit, Ceylon Centre, with an elevated brand new look to better cater to the comfort and convenience of its patients. The building also houses a new radiology unit, helping the hospital meet a diverse array of patient requirements under one roof. The launch was attended by Nawaloka Hospital's chairman, Dr. Jayantha Dharmadasa, Deputy Chairman Anisha Dharmadasa, and the company's board of directors. This was followed by the annual capping ceremony of over 38 student nurses graduating from the hospital's own nurse training school. These fresh nurses were joined by their parents. The yearly graduation demonstrates the care and commitment Nawaloka Hospitals invest in improving the standard of healthcare expertise through both its staff force and infrastructure to ensure only the best clinical outcomes for its patients. The celebrations continued with awards for over 15 staff members at the hospital in recognition of their over 25 years of dedicated service to the hospital. Throughout the day, Nawaloka Hospital also hosted a medical camp and various other promotions at the hospital, where the first 100 patients were gifted with free consultations. On the 21st of September, the hospital hosted another medical camp, particularly for the benefit of its employees. The hospital also intends to host a special interdepartment cricket tournament on the 2nd of October. Nawaloka Hospital employs a team of over 500 expert consultants of unparalleled proficiency from the full spectrum of clinical disciplines. They're joined by an indomitable qualified panel of the finest nurses in the country, trained at Nawaloka's own fully fledged nurse training school. Stay tuned for stock updates.
Low latency, data bow one, data bow one.
A non-stop journey with Data Bow One from SLT Mobitel Home Broadband.
Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a positive note today. The All Share Price Index gained 87.97 points to close at 10,001.19, and the S&P SL20 gained 31.28 points to close at 3,231.22. The turnover was 4.1 billion rupees and over 147 million shares were traded. Up next are Forex rates. And that's all news for today. See you tomorrow with State of Business at the usual time. Until then, take care and good night.
State of Business was sponsored by
Meet your work and learn targets. Log on to my SLT app to activate.
IWS Aviation.